sports, rapid reaction show. Vince talking about the Bills, always ready to go. Josh Allen dropping dimes, he's the leader of the pack. Neon Keenan on the rise. Devon Miller, coming for the sack. We the champs, we the kings of the game. Super Bowl bound, you know our name. Buffalo Bills, we running the show. We got the flow in the heat of the snow, knocking out teams like a Mike Tyson body blow. It's OW Sports, rapid reaction show. The city of Buffalo, talking proud. We rest the Bills Mafia, red, white, and blue, cheering loud from the streets of Buffalo to Highmark Stadium. We got the passion, we got the energy. We looking for more. It's the 716. You know who we are, putting the league on notice. We the true America's team, not that gray helmet with a star. So turn up the volume, you know the score. Vince on the mic, bringing heat like never before. Feel that vibe, we ready to go. It's OW Sports, rapid reaction show. We the champs, we the kings of the game. Super Bowl bound, you know our name. Buffalo Bills, we running the show. We got the flow in the heat of the snow, knocking out teams like the Mike Tyson body blow. It's OW Sports, rapid reaction show. We the champs, we the kings of the game. Super Bowl bound, you know our name. Buffalo Bills, we running the show. We got the flow in the heat of the snow, knocking out teams like a Mike Tyson body blow. It's OW Sports.
And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and actually riding this one solo. Stevie D unable to make it for the Rapid Reaction show. What a game. What a game. So, very, very good. Very happy to watch the performance here tonight. To watch the Bills actually play a complete game, right? We've talked about it week after week, right? Play 60. That's always been what we've wanted from the Bills is just to come out and from the opening kickoff to the taking that last knee for them to play 60 minutes of football. We would joke around about it and say, if you play 60, you only have to play 50, meaning, right? If they came out the gates fast, they played hard, we get to a point where we built up a big enough lead where there would be no need to have a Mitch Trubisky come in the game, right? And we didn't have to do that. But we didn't have to worry about that today. This was what I would call the most complete game of the season. And we've had some really big games, but we saw it offense, we saw it on defense, we saw it on special teams, we saw it from coaching, right? One of the big things that I've always harped on was Sean McDermott and his play calling, his decision making. But I saw a different Sean McDermott out there. I really did. I saw a Sean McDermott that was not afraid of the big walrus on the other side of the field, right? He was not afraid of Andy Reid and what the Chiefs were going to do. He wasn't afraid of Spags. He came out there, and the Bills had their own game plan, right? They knew what they wanted to do, and they executed. And that's all, as Bills fans, all we ever asked for. That's all we ever asked for. And it was outstanding to watch this team go out there and live up to the expectations. And I'm going to do you one better. What made this game even sweeter, I would say, is the fact that we weren't completely healthy. Either were they, but we weren't completely healthy, right? We weren't the undefeated team coming in. We weren't the team that everybody was talking about was going to, run the table and go 17-0. That wasn't us. But again, we weren't completely healthy. And if you look at this team coming into this season, and maybe I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid. Maybe that's starting to happen. But coming into this season, there were a lot of question marks. There were a lot of doubts as to what this season was actually going to look like. There are a lot of people out there talking about, well, it's going to be a 9-8, maybe a 10-7, right? A lot of people had the Jets actually winning the division. A lot of people had the Dolphins making some noise. But at the end of the day, the team that has been dominant week after week. Yes, we had a couple slips, right? The Baltimore game, we didn't play a good first half. And then we decided that we were going to start playing better and then got in our own way. All right, so I'll give you the Baltimore game. The Texans game, we could have and should have, right? I'll put it like that. We could have and should have. But at the end of the day, when you look at this team, they are exceeding expectations, right? You lose Diggs and you lose Davis, the big names, and everybody's harping on the big names. But what we've talked about, addition through subtraction. I wasn't a big fan of Matt Collins. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really wasn't. Stevie D and I would go back and forth, and I was like, I don't like it. Curtis Samuel, right? He had the turf toe to start the year, and really, we didn't hear much from him. These guys actually are starting to step up, and we saw what Hollins did last week, and we saw where Samuel made some key, crucial catches this week. I mean, key, and that was clutch, and we needed that. And then we saw Dawson Knox, who, because of Kincaid and his injury, Knox was put back into the starting lineup, making plays downfield. That's all we've asked for. And really, that's what we've asked for Kincaid. Where has that been? I have no idea, but where has that been? But it was nice to be able to see the tight end be able to stretch the field. And if you watch the way the defense from Kansas City really was packing the box. They weren't respecting the downfield pass. And so we were able to exploit that and be able to take advantage. Josh, if you could have hit on some of those longer throws, who knows, right? Maybe we would have seen Mitch Trubisky in there, but that's okay. I'm not. There's no negativity on this show at all because this is one for the 716 to get up and rejoice. Bills Mafia rejoice, and just understand one more thing. We didn't have to rush our guys back to play in this game. We did not have to do that. So think how much we can really enjoy and embrace this, knowing that a Kincaid stayed as an inactive, knowing that Keon Coleman stayed as an inactive. We didn't have to rush Matt Milano back in. I mean, Spencer Brown stayed as an inactive. Think about this. The offensive line that played as an entire unit for the entire season last year, and up until this game, played as an entire unit. They were down a key piece with Spencer Brown. And even without Spencer Brown being in there, did you hear much of Chris Jones today? I didn't. Yeah, there was some pressure, and Josh had to kind of elude some guys and move around in the pocket. But for the most part, Josh was clean, very decisive when he decided to scramble, very decisive when he was rolling out and looking for guys in the flat. Thank you, Joe Brady, for making sure that there were safety valves sitting in the flat. So kudos goes to the offensive line. No Spencer Brown. Yeah, we saw Dawkins go down late, which I was very much worried about. But it just it really was a great thing to see that from the offensive line. And then again, without the likes of a Keon Coleman, then you had to have other guys step up, and that they did. I mean, and that they absolutely did. And again, of course, Milano, the 21-day window's open. Didn't have to play in the Chiefs game. We have the bye week. Oh boy, I'm excited. Finally, we get to see Matt Milano. Yes, yes, yes. Demetrius, thank you for popping in. Very happy, but pissed that McDermott didn't challenge the catch at the end. We had nothing to lose. You know, I'll tell you, Dimitri. I'm not sure. First of all, as far as challenges, didn't we hire somebody to be in the ear to say when to challenge and when not to challenge? I I don't really think that we've won a challenge this year, and we're supposed to have an eye in the sky. A former referee be able to tell us. So please tell me why we even challenged on the Hopkins catch. Right, McDermott's the guy that loves his timeouts. Why in the world did we challenge on the Hopkins catch? That was the dumbest one. And I think a little bit of that, especially late in the game, you referenced late in the game, a little of that goes to kind of a burn me once, right? And he's like, I got to save these timeouts just in case. So, but yeah, this was really good, excellent to see there. Dimitri, what did you have in there? No Coleman, no Kincaid, no Spencer Brown. exactly. Um, we might, we might not. So that will definitely be interesting to see what happens as things start to unfold. With that one loss, the Chiefs. I mean, no disrespect to the Kansas City Chiefs, but because they're a good team, right? A better defense than a better offense, and whoever would have thought that we would have said that. But kudos to them for what they've done this year. But they've been a little lucky. All right, remember everybody remembers Week 1 with Likely and that toe just stepping on that inline. That would have ended that game. And then you had the block kick. I still don't know how you allow a kick to be blocked the last play of the game. What are you thinking? And I think we talked about it on the last show. It was like a jailbreak, right? Everybody was coming in, right? And able to block that kick. But they didn't face, well, Craig, I'll give you that one. It was the first week of the season, but they didn't face a top tier team, and they've been lucky all the way through. They talked about all the close one score games that they've won, and so they've been a little bit lucky. But again, no disrespect to the Kansas City Chiefs, no disrespect to Andy Reid or to Pat Mahomes, but there's a little bit of a changing of the guard. I will say, I will say that the blood started to boil a little bit, and I'm not sure if Bill's Mafia out there was thinking the same thing. But I watched a drive, 4 catches, 61 yards by Xavier Worthy, and I'm like, we gave him to you, and now you turn around and give our gift back and use it against us. I did not like that at all, at all. Um, but still, at the end of the day, I mean, think about what he did after that. Not much. Not much. So kudos to the defensive backs. There's Craig. Hey, Craig. Um, yeah, that was a tough one. I know this is Bill's rapid reaction, but Craig is a loyalist to the show. So, Craig, I'm not going to pile on. Not going to pile on, but Pittsburgh is the real deal, and I would say Pittsburgh's defense is the real deal. They definitely came to play, and the fact that they were able to get that victory with 6 field goals, that shows you that Russell may have been able to move the ball, but they got stuck. They absolutely got stuck when it came into the money zone. They really weren't able to deliver, and it's a good thing they had Chris Boswell, because Boswell was the MVP. So, and thank you, Craig. Thank you, appreciate that. So as I say MVPs, right? Let's dig into who really was the MVP. And there's a lot of players that can go around. There's some coaches that we could talk about that you would put into that MVP for today's game. But I have a surprise. I have a surprise as far as my MVP for the game, um, because I guess it took it to the fourth quarter for me to actually realize something. So the referees. That's right. I said it. The referees were the MVP. And the reason why the referees were the MVP, we have seen Kansas City Chief game after Kansas City Chief game, and we all know the outcome. We all know the story, right? Phantom pass interference call, a phantom holding call, not calling Juwan Taylor for his multiple procedure penalties, not calling him for his holding penalties, not calling him for lining up, off the line of scrimmage. We've seen all of that from just one player, but all the other things, roughing the passer, right? They actually were past the mantle from the Patriots as far as just these ridiculous calls in late in the game, but not this game. And again, kudos to the men in stripes. Kudos. Finally, you get a game where they were legitimate calls on both sides, and nobody could really complain. Nobody could complain. And the fact that the Chiefs were called for a holding call late in the game, that 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 just blew my mind. I really was stunned. I had to pinch myself. Is this reality here that a call is going against the Chiefs on a critical drive late in the game, especially with their undefeated season on the line? Everybody, I think, was waiting for it. At least everybody except for the Chiefs fans, right? The Chiefs fans were like waiting for their gift to come, and I think they're still waiting, right? There may be a backup with UPS or FedEx because they did not get that gift today, and it was something that actually made the game enjoyable. And we're not here talking about how the referees blew it and how the Bills got screwed because there's plenty of games we can talk about that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about a decisive victory. We're talking about how Josh just played out of his mind. That's the Josh Allen that we like to see. We're talking about how Sean McDermott actually stood up to Andy Reid and said, "Not this time, not in my house," and very much appreciative for Sean actually kind of maybe growing and taking that next step. That's something that we've always asked for, and that's why because for so long I've said that Sean McDermott was a great defensive mind and was a great head coach to build a foundation, but he lacked and was limited in the ability to go over the top to become that championship type coach. This game is part of that puzzle because this is regular season. Let's not fool ourselves, Bills Mafia. Let's not do that. This is only one game of 17 in the regular season. The money season starts in January. And when that money season starts, that's when everybody gets a little tight. And that's where I still need to see Sean McDermott be kind of the new coach that we're starting to see him become. Let's continue. Demetrius, Worthy isn't a long term guy in this league. Gadget man at best. I don't know if I agree with that, but as far as him being a short timer in the league, um, he has a certain skill set, right? What did he do? He wowed everybody at the combine, blew everybody away with that speed. That's elite speed, right? We remember some of the guys, especially like in the mid '80s, right? Remember all the track guys, all the former Olympians that all of a sudden transitioned to the NFL, and they stayed around for a long time because they have that certain skill set. If you can blow the doors off of a team and just fly right down the field, there's a spot for you. I think it's going to be up to the coaching staff to really teach him his route running, to be able to teach him how to expand his play. We saw what's happened with Tariq Hill, right? They haven't done that, right? He's still a speed guy and a gadget guy, but when you talk about route running, he doesn't have that, right? And so he's still lethal. Just imagine what he would be if he became a complete wide receiver. Craig, going back to you. Oh yeah. You want to talk about that Ravens again? Their defense did show up, absolutely, 100%. Um, Unfortunately, again, it was like the 425 game. It was a heavyweight battle, and that's what it came down to. But Craig, I heard a stat: last 7 of 8, I believe they said Tomlin has taken down the Ravens. So it looks like Tomlin and the Steelers have that number right now. Uh, Definitely in the regular season. And yes, absolutely, the officiating crew, they did a great job, and that's all we asked for, right? That's all we asked for is for the referees to just do their job, and if they do their job, we never see them. Not that they're not calling penalties, but they don't become the main story, right? And you never want an official, no matter what sport it is, football, hockey, basketball, baseball, and for an umpire in baseball, you just don't want to see those referees. So kudos there. All right, so I'm going back to the MVP. So I gave the referees an MVP, right? But who else deserves an MVP? Tell you what, Cam Lewis. Cam Lewis came to play today. Watching Cam Lewis out there, different sets based on injuries and different matchups. But it was really good to see Cam Lewis out there flying around, making big tackles, big pass breakups. That's something that we haven't seen, and partially because Milano really wasn't in there, so you needed somebody that could float around in almost that hybrid type role, and that's where Cam Lewis came to play. But I'm telling you, outstanding. That's what we needed, and the way that he was actually able to take on P Ryan. Um, Especially in that last drive. It seemed that everybody, and again, kudos to the secondary, right? Bernard, Douglas, Rapp, even Hamlin, right? Kudos to the secondary because everything was kind of covered. And no matter if you go out and sign a Juju Smith Schuster or a DeAndre Hopkins, those guys weren't getting open. And so that left Mahomes to go to his check down. And when he went to his check down, there was Cam Lewis, right? Could have had the interception or even earlier and ended the game. But outstanding job, and I really want to recognize him for what he did. Next MVP, I talked about him earlier tonight. Next MVP goes to Sean McDermott. I got to do it. I got to do it. Sean McDermott and his staff were prepared. Again, that's all we asked for. We want the team to be prepared when they get out there. And the Bills were ready to go. And not only were they ready to go, the Bills do what they always do. They made adjustments. So Sean McDermott had the complete game. His staff had the complete game. On the offensive side of the ball, I love that we saw guys in motion. Right? This is all we asked for. Put guys in motion. And they did that. And what does that do? That allows Josh to be able to have a better sense of what the coverage is, right? Your man or your zone. He can see where the strong side is. He can see where the blitz is coming from, right? There's so much that you can decipher just by having a guy go from the right side to the left side. If you're not sure, double him back. And we saw Shakir do that a couple times. Also creates matchup problems, right? Because now you got a guy that's in chase mode on the other side of the ball. And if he doesn't get there in time, you have a guy that's wide open in the flat. You have a guy that's wide open doing a shallow cross. Those types of matchup problems are great, right? And we saw a couple guys wide open. Who doesn't get the MVP for the game? Tony Romo. I gotta be honest with you, right? They hyped it up, right? We're getting the number one staff from CBS coming out there, so we get the whole crew is on ground and they're doing the pregame and they're doing halftime, live from Highmark. They're hyping it up. We get Nance, we get Romo. They are not the number one crew. I'd rather have Andrew Catalan in that crew than these guys. I really, I'm over the bias of the announcers, whether it be pro or con against the Bills. Just call the game, call the facts. Share some love with one side and with the other. Don't contradict yourself, right? Don't say stupid stuff, Tony Romo. Stupid stuff. All right. First of all, Romo was in a love fest with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Okay. As a Bills fan, we're used to it. I get it, right? But you're supposed to be a number one team. You're supposed to understand how it goes as a commentator. That didn't happen. Then what do we have? On the Josh interception. If you watch the replay of the Josh interception, Knox is coming across and Josh is throwing to a spot. It was a timing pass and it was to a spot on the field. But what happened? Knox's progress was impeded and he stopped, which allowed the defensive back to then just turn around and very easily make that interception. Bad pass by Josh? Not really, because that was the play. His expectation was that his player, who was coming across free, was going to be able to get to that spot. But to listen to Romo went on and on and on about how that was such a bad pass. And notice they didn't show but one replay. Normally they want to show every angle, right? From behind the play, from behind Josh, from the sky. They want to give you everything. But when he starts saying stupid stuff and he starts coming down on Josh, or any, in this case, it was against Josh. When he comes down on Josh, all of a sudden they only want to show you once because the video evidence would show you exactly what happened. No good. Hey, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to live with these guys, especially as Buffalo continues to stack wins. And now they go to they are recognized in that top echelon, that top tier. We're gonna have to deal with these guys. And it's just so bad. It was so bad, I really would almost compare it to, dare I say, the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight and listen to that commentating crew, which was a disaster. We'll probably get into that on Wednesday's show. What a debacle for Netflix. And just to kind of put a little football spin on that, doesn't Netflix want to carry an NFL game? Just shake your head. Just shake your head. All right. Back to the Bills game. And again, I know everybody's hyped up in 716. I really want everybody just take a pause a little bit, right? Enjoy the victory, right? What do they always say? You get 24 hours. Well, let's say we get 24 minutes, because after the 24 minutes, not only do we have to look forward, great thing we have a bye, but we have to look forward to San Francisco. Lost a tough one to Seattle today, but we also have to look forward to the Lions, who seem to be hanging half 100 on everybody that's out there, right? Two big games we got coming up. In this game, for it to matter for us, we need Kansas City to slip up, and we have to continue to stack W's. That's what we need. So this helped, but it didn't guarantee anything. And that's really where I want us to be careful. Celebrate, enjoy. Absolutely, 100%. Okay? We're good there. Big picture, big picture. We still need a lot of help. And when you look at the schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know if that help is out there. Now they do have the Steelers, which is a tough game. They do have the Steelers, um, and Broncos maybe. Outside of that, I don't see anybody that's going to really pose as a challenge, especially next week. They get Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, and they could consider that one a bye week and just rest everybody for during that game. Who knows? Who knows? Uh, but again, on the Bill side, we need some help and we have to do work. So, and I'm not discounting the other games that we have. Obviously, we have another game against the Jets. We have two against the Patriots. So those are some games that you would think would be a W, but no game is guaranteed. All this game really does for us is maybe exude a little bit of confidence to the team, knowing that you could beat that team on the other side of the field. But let me sound the siren. We can win the game in regular season. Josh had, I think, Josh versus Mahomes 4-4. All those victories coming in the regular season, right? So, am I really happy about a regular season victory? Sure, yeah, let me get that. But what matters most? That second season in January. That's when it matters. Hey, Ken, how are you? Thank you. Good game, right? I will say to you, good game. Um, but just like I was saying here, Ken, um, from a Bills perspective, happy to see a lot of different things. But I have to look at this big picture. When I look at this big picture, there's still a lot of work, and that road is not easy. It is not easy, especially looking at what Kansas City has to face down the stretch, what Buffalo has to face down during the stretch. Not easy. But again, I don't want to be Debbie Downer. So congratulations to Bills Mafia. Congratulations to Buffalo Bills. Um, but the biggest win for me is how I started the show. The biggest win is that the team was able to come out and perform, and you didn't have Coleman. like Demetrius also said, you didn't have Coleman, you didn't have Spencer Brown, you didn't have Matt Milano, right? You let guys, you didn't have Kincaid, you let guys rest and heal. Now they have the bye week. They'll be back ready to go for San Francisco, fully healthy. That is the big win. Guys, this big picture, that's the big win. That's what we needed. That's what I was asking for. I actually had a call with Stevie D earlier today. He told me, I'm not going to be able to make it. Now, this is just between you and I. So, you know, good thing Stevie D's not here. I'm wondering, could it be that the Colts beat the Jets last second drive? I don't know. I don't know. But again, this is just between you and I. Maybe that's why my partner in crime is just like, he's fed up with what's going on in Florham Park. I can tell you that for sure. But going back to our conversation, now this is public, right? Going back to our conversation. When I talked to Stevie D, what we talked about was, what's the value of this game? And to me, I'll be open. I'll be fully transparent. I said, if we win, great. If we lose, great. It doesn't matter. Not great, but if we lose, I'll be okay with it, right? I'm not going to internalize it and really take it hard. I will only do that if we sacrifice ourselves and play the injured players to try to get a victory. If we did that and we still didn't win, then it would be a complete disaster. But we didn't do that. We kept our eyes on January. And that, to me, that matters the most. And it should matter to you guys out there as well, part of Bill's Mafia, to understand that this organization is actually doing the right thing. And so now we'll see what happens down the stretch. Of course, Miami won today. So I think our number to clinch maybe 2, something like that. They're not going to run the table. We're not going to lose the table. We already know that. So, we're going to win the division. But now we kind of complicate things. We do, right? When do you take your foot off the gas? I don't think we've ever really, even during our heyday, for the big run that we had for the 4 consecutive AFC championships, we never took our foot off the gas until like week 15, week 16. We're at a point now where the division's wrapped up, but now you actually are playing for something. And if Kansas City happens to trip and fall again, who knows? And here's the other thing though that'll make this interesting. And actually, Craig, this may benefit you as well, and also the black and gold that's out there. If Kansas City and Buffalo are going back and forth, and now each team is vying for that number 1 seed, that means you're going to have to play all 17, right? You're going to have to go the full 18 weeks and play the entire season and not just coast, right? You got people like Mitch Trubisky that, he's probably throwing his helmet. He thought he was good, right? So if Kansas City won, Trubisky probably would have started the last 3 or 4 games because we would have been all set. But now, if we have something to play for, you definitely want to do that. Yes, it was a great game. And Ken, not sure when you made it through, but the MVP of the game I gave to the officials. Because we don't have to talk about the officials. There's no controversy, right? We don't have to worry about a guy lining up offsides. We don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. We don't have to worry about, watching Juwan Taylor. We can feel as though the game was officiated the way it was supposed to be. And you are correct. You absolutely correct. Yeah, I may have missed you as I was talking about that. It really does. That this game forces the Chiefs to play, and they too cannot take their foot off the gas if they want the number 1 seed. So now it becomes interesting for both teams, right, to really kind of push all the way through to the end of the season. So, again, ecstatic, happy, very much so. Let's take a look into the numbers, right? Mahomes had what we would call a Mahomes 2024 type game, right? Under 200 yards passing, averaged less than 6 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. There were 2 sacks, but I'll tell you, it felt like for a good portion of that game, he was running for dear life. Kareem Hunt only had 60 yards, had the big 17-yard carry. Um, so you take that out of there, and what, that's 43 yards that he had. Um, I always hate when people say that. So kind of scratch that, right? I'm not going to take away a play. It was a good run, right? And so he had 14 carries for 60 yards, but really did not. The Chiefs did not do much up as far as on the ground. I'll tell you another team that didn't really do a whole lot on the ground, and that was the Buffalo Bills. That was something else I wanted to talk about because you have a Kansas City Chiefs team that has a very strong middle of the line, and they controlled that line of scrimmage, especially against Buffalo's run game. You had Cook averaging 2.2, you had Ray Davis averaging 2.2, right? Ty Johnson actually averaged a little bit more at 3.6. That's not the Bills rushing attack that we've seen in over the course of this season, right? We've had guys that are averaging 5 yards a carry. Didn't happen. Every time there was a handoff, you had a guy that was running into just a brick wall up front. I would like to see a little bit more from Joe Brady with regards to that, right? Maybe stretch the Chiefs' defensive line out a little wider, less gap control between those A and B gaps, and let them worry about maybe one of the faster guys. Ty Johnson, great speed. Cook has the speed. We saw it on the touchdown to get to the corner. We brought it up on a previous show. What about a jet sweep, right? Let one of the guys, let a Curtis Samuel take that on a jet sweep, go wide. And if you're more effective going wide, hopefully it opens it up for you to go, between that guard center gap and be able to run in between the tackles. Maybe that would help. But kudos to the Chiefs in their front four and really front seven there. From passing, right? Again, talked about Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy had 4 receptions, 61 yards, all on one drive. Nowhere to be seen from again. You had Hopkins and a lot of different receivers, right? Caught passes from Mahomes, but really, when you look at the big names, the guy you traded for, 3 catches, 29 yards, really was not a factor in the game. You look at Juju Smith-Schuster. Kansas City thought he's going to come in and he's going to help take some of the pressure off and bring back days of yesteryear. 1 catch for 8 yards, that didn't do it. Travis Kelce, again, we go back into this whole Travis Kelce debate. Yeah, he had a breakout game really for what we would call the season last week and actually in the last couple of weeks. But 2 catches, 8 yards, that's not the Travis Kelce that we were trying to put our defense in place to defend. That guy, I think, is gone. Whether his mind is focused on Taylor Swift and her tour and what it's like to be with the Swifties, who knows? Who knows? But that guy is gone. On the other side, again, you look at the stats and the numbers. Josh, 27 to 40, 262. He had a touch and he had an interception. We talked about the interception. Good play. Sometimes you just have to chalk it up to the other side. Good play for the Chiefs, right? They were able to stop the route from Dawson Knox coming across. The Bills had a timing and a spot play called. That's where Josh threw it. And because Knox couldn't get to that spot at that time, it left it there for an easy interception. So, congratulations on that. It just kind of stinks that, and Demetrius, if you're still on, I may have to blame you because we got to a certain point where Josh had 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then that became a talking point on the show. And it seems like since then, there's been interception after interception after interception. I will say most of them aren't Josh's, right? 3 of the 5 are not Josh's. You had Cooper that slipped on a route. You had Coleman that had the ball bounce off his chest. And then this last one that I would say isn't really his fault is that it was a great play by the defender to stop Dawson Knox from being able to get to that spot. So, but great job by Josh. Uh, and then again, Josh playing Superman. Josh being the guy that we know he can be, being Superman, 12 carries, 55 yards, didn't sound like a lot, right? But just key plays, the 4th and 2, being able to take it all the way for the touchdown and really seal the game. Tell you another thing I liked about Josh. We saw Josh slide. We saw Josh slide. There's no need to hurdle. We don't need to do that. And to be able to see him slide and be ready for another day, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. Again, Cook, Johnson, Davis. Wait, what is that? 29, 49 yards total on 19 carries. Very much not a factor, except for when you got in the goal line or in the red zone and really in goal to go situations. We saw Cook was able to pound it in, and I think he's up to 9 this year. I mean, think about this, right? This was a guy that was on the roster that I guess we just didn't trust in goal line situations. It was always Josh, Josh, Josh. And now Cook is the one that is your goal line back. Doesn't look like your prototypical goal line back, but he's getting the job done time after time. So you have to appreciate that. From the receiving side, right? Khalil Shakir. How good is this guy? I mean, really, how good is he? Right? People compare him to like a Beasley. No. He's not that. He's not an Edelman. Nope, he's not that. Right? Those guys are great short-handed guys that would be in a certain spot, be able to stay within that 5 to 7 yard area, and that was it. When you talk about Shakir, you're talking about a guy that not only can get into that 5 to 7 yard area, but then it's almost like you can't wait to see what he does with the ball. Right? He was able to just shake people, jock straps flying all over the place, right? And pick up another 10, 12, 15 yards. It is great to have him. That is a great weapon to have. Curtis Samuel, 5 catches, 58 yards. Very happy to see his production, especially when we needed it. Amari Cooper had one heck of a catch, one-handed catch. And remember, the one-handed catch that he started that with the hand that had the cast on it. Think about that. That started with the hand that had the cast. So really good to see what he was able to do out there. And the one question that I have maybe was the first extra point. Again, a big Tyler Bass fan, root for Tyler Bass, but they say there's no replay when the ball is over the top of the goalpost. That sure looked good to me. But I would say, Tyler, why are you even playing with fire like that? Right. And it showed in your next extra point or your field goal where it was dead center, right? Center cut, USDA center cut. And that's where it needs to be. So yeah, I'm in a good space. I'm in a good space. It was a good game against a quality opponent, something that we needed for the resume, right? Because the Baltimore game, I did not feel like we played our best. I don't feel like we coached our best. The Houston game, we were in it, but it just didn't feel like. I think we were too maybe concerned about the whole Diggs reunion type game. And so then we find ourselves here, right? And when you play the level of competition against a quality team and you're able to come out victorious, yes, you can absolutely feel good about that. And again, kudos all around, offensively, defensively, special teams, and coaching, especially coaching. So that's going to kind of wrap up this rapid reaction. I really appreciate those that help chime in and that came out to the show tonight. We're on every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Stevie D and myself, continue our journey as we go through this great season of the NFL. well, some will say great season. Others may say just in the season. If you know what that means, you know what that is an acronym for. So, or who that's for. But some will say just in the season. But right now, we're loving where we are. And so on this upcoming Wednesday show, we're going to take a look around the league. I'm sure we're going to talk about the Lions hanging another 50. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears having a last-second field goal block. It's just the Chicago Bears. That's all you can say. It's just the Chicago Bears, and some other games that we saw this week. And then we're going to kind of look ahead for Bills Mafia. We get a chance to relax. Finally, the bye week is here. Let's relax. We can get healthy. We can get our voices back. We can spend some time with the family, spend some time with friends, do all that good stuff through the bye week and be ready as we get ready for the San Francisco 49ers. So, again, I appreciate everybody that was able to join us for the show here today. And again, check in every Wednesday, 8 p.m. You can also follow us on any one of our social media platforms. Love to hear from you. We do have the email, mailbag@owsports.net. Plenty of ways to get in contact with us. Let us know what you think, what you feel. And don't forget to check out our Facebook groups. You got, for the Bills, you have Mafia Den. Check it out. Love to have you become a member. And on the Jets side, we have Jets Hangar. And Stevie D is active in that one, probably 10 times as active as I am. But thank goodness Mafia Den has got some good contributors. But they talk a lot of things about the Jets in Jets Hangar. So check out either one of those Facebook groups that we have out there, brought to you by OW Sports. So that's going to, as I said, that's going to wrap it up. So if my boy Stevie D was here, I say for Stevie D, I'm Vince, but I'll just say for Vince, thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, it's OW Sports, rapid reaction show. Vince talking about the Bills, always ready to go. Josh Allen dropping dimes, he's the leader of the pack. Neon Keenan on the rise. Devon Miller coming for the sack. We the champs, we the kings of the game. Super Bowl bound, you know our name. Buffalo Bills, we running the show, we got the flow. In the heat of the snow, knocking out teams like the Mike Tyson body blow. It's OW Sports, rapid reaction show. The city of Buffalo, talking proud. We rest the Bills Mafia, red, white, and blue, cheering loud from the streets of Buffalo to Highmark Stadium. We got the passion, we got the energy, we looking for more. It's the 716, you know who we are, putting the league on notice. We the true America's team, got that gray helmet with a star. So turn up the volume, you know the score. Vince on the mic, bringing heat like never before. Feel that vibe, we ready to go. It's OW Sports, rapid reaction show. We the champs, we the kings of the game. Super Bowl bound, you know our name. Buffalo Bills, we running the show, we got the flow. In the heat of the snow, knocking out teams like the Mike Tyson body blow. It's OW Sports, rapid reaction show. We the champs, we the kings of the game. Super Bowl bound, you know our name. Buffalo Bills, we running the show, we got the flow. In the heat of the snow, knocking out teams like the Mike